for your assignment, right, I said on Tuesday that you all need to select a bridge that you would like to model. Okay? But I need something that's also slightly more than that. Okay? Because it's not something that I think we really should be spending most of our time on Tuesday. I need you to select a bridge, and then very similarly to how I diagrammed out a few of the things that a few of the moves that I made throughout this process, I'd like you to think ahead to how you're going to accomplish creating the geometry in your selected bridge. Okay, so real quick, let me just grab one real quick. I know I keep just randomly Googling pedestrian bridge, but sure, let's grab this one. Okay, so let's say this is the one that I chose, right? You don't have to do all of the detail, right? You don't have to model like the thickness of the base here versus the shaft for the suspension support, right? That kind of detail I don't really care about. What I want you to be able to model is the complexity of the object. That means you can model, this curved walking surface. You can model the triangle, right? And you don't have to do you don't have to do that necessarily, but you can model that triangle with a void in the center, and that you can do your suspension cable curve, and then connect using suspension cable geometry. And if you can handle that, I'd like you to even go so far as to maybe do like the handrail, the subdivision of the handrail. If you can go that far. Depends on the complexity of your bridge, okay? But select a bridge that you think you can do in 2 days, okay? So if I create this geometry, I'm like 2 class days. We're going to do this in class / in your own time and stuff, but we're going to do this in class as a studio sort of thing. Now, this on the subject of diagramming it out, what I want you to do is think about this as kind of a design concept in a way. So if I have a bridge like this, I need to develop the actual triangle. So in my sketchbook, I might draw out a triangle like this, and consider. I think what I'm going to do in Rhino here is model these 3 points. Right? Like I'm going to model those 3 points in Rhino. I'm going to connect lines and create a surface for it. Then I'm going to use. Wow, this is really hard to sketch on. With a mouse. Anyway, then I'm going to use another one. I'm just going to make that smaller using scale, right? So I can write out that I'm going to use scale. Yeah. Yeah, all right. I'm going to scale that down, and then I'm going to cut it out, something like that, right? Think through the moves that you're going to make, because they're going to make it so much easier for you once you actually sit down to do it. And then, you need to think about the actual curve of the bridge. So if I'm going to, model the bridge, it's kind of an S-curve, this bridge. So I'm going to do something like that, and then I'm going to diagram it like that and say it's going to be an offset surface. Or offset curve, actually. Scratch that. Curve. Offset curve is going to get me my other one. Okay, not too bad, right? But secondarily, you also need to split this thing in half. Notice how on one side the suspension cable is going down to the opposite, and then on this one it's going to this side. So this needs to be split. So you can kind of think through these moves that you're going to make. You need to break that curve into 2 pieces. And then, you need to figure out, well, all right, so if I need one side to go here, and then I need the other side of the suspension cables to go to that side. Actually, both of these are going to need to be split. How am I going to do that? Well, I can take the triangle at the top, and I can, try to find a point. Maybe what I can do is I can take my point at the top and move it down a couple feet, right? The one that you use to create your triangle, make a copy of it that's a couple feet farther down, and that would be like moving from here to there. You guys get that? And then use that to actually create your suspension cables. You can do one on this side of the triangle, you can do one on the opposite side of the triangle, and throw out all your suspension cables. I'm not sure if you're going to do it point-based, whatever the case is. So that's the kind of sketching that I want you to do. And I suggest you actually sketch it. Actually, I'm requiring that you actually sketch a few of them out. Okay? I want you to think through the largest moves, the ones you think you can make. And when we get into class, we'll start making the moves that you think you can make, and then I'll sit down with each one of you and we'll discuss the moves that you don't quite know how to make. And then we'll figure out how to make it. Okay? Are there any questions on that? So by Tuesday, I'd like you to have a bridge selected, and I'd like you to have thought through the steps that you're going to take in order to model it. Any comments, concerns, objections? No? All right, cool. So, yeah.